for Gallery, and this is Mike Childs, and he's going to do a walkthrough of the show. Hey, Mike.
Hi, Melissa. So we're live here at the Stanford Gallery, and I'll just tell you a bit about the streaming project, which we created with Melissa's help on, I think it was March of 2020. It then was launched as an Instagram project where we built a group of 8 artists. I think I picked 3 and Melissa picked 3, and including our own work, that became 8. And it was a reaction to the lockdown, which happened about maybe a month before I first talked to Melissa. So it was a reaction to the isolation and trying to build some kind of sense of a community, a new community that would appear online, because I was spending tremendous amounts of time at home, and that's why I reached out to Melissa, as a lot of people were. And it's not so much, I was thinking on today, a curatorial project as a kind of forming a group and letting the work sort of just be itself, as opposed to a curatorial overview. It's all small work, and it's all artists who make small works without that work being derivative of a larger project. So they're not like babies of another concept. They are within themselves their own concept. So that was the unifying factor. But I didn't create a sort of curatorial narrative in that. I just wanted the work to exist beside each other, and in that way it forms a collage, and then things are when seen next to each other implying different stories. I also was thinking of the work as beats, and that each beat had to be very distinctive from the other. So there's nobody's work that's beside each other's where you really have to understand where one artist ends and one artist begins. So similar in terms of scale and sort of concept, different in terms of execution. And that was the streaming project. Melissa, we're going to have an interview up online soon.
Sure.
What was that interview? What is the periodical called again? It's Art.
Oh, you mean the newsletter or?
Yeah. Art Spiel?
Oh yeah, Art Spiel with Eddie. Yes.
So
yes.
we have that. Melissa's going to have an interview about the show with Art Spiel. We'll be posting that at the gallery, as well as streaming artwork. So we have a few things, and we also have a closing. If you don't make it tonight, you want to come out again. And what is the day of the opening? Do you know?
What is the day of the
closing? The date of the closing.
Oh,
sorry.
July 10th? Yes.
July 10th. Is that a Saturday?
I think so, yes.
That'll be a Saturday from 12
yes.
to noon. But we'll post it.
Yeah, we'll post it.
So I'm not going to talk too much about each artist and their tent. It's going to be more of just a visual tour, and I'll just, as Melissa goes by, be introducing the artists.
All right.
Introducing the artist's work. This is, these 5 pieces are what I think are kind of painting sculptures by Torres. All the participants in the show are the original group of 8. Julie's work sort of jumps back and forth between sculpture, process, and painting. And she lives in Hudson, New York. Each artist in the show creates an Instagram stream of their work, and that was part of the point, because it creates this document of linking. And it was partly like Melissa and myself. Well, Melissa kind of teaching me like the possibilities of Instagram. And then next we have Ben Pritchard. Melissa introduced me to his work. One of the things I like most about this work is that he lists the materials as found paper, and that puts them, for me, when you think of artists who work with found objects, we always think of sculpture primarily, in that whole history. And the fact that this painter is claiming found paper, it's a very kind of thick, kind of cardboardy, they're presented with thumbtacks as objects. So that was one thing that I really enjoyed. I love also the way these guys go together, because they're very similar yet very different. So it was a nice opening wall. Next is a wall of my own work, and these were the original series from the website that we created and the Instagram show, and it was a series of 20 works called The Traps, and my work is, for the most part, abstraction with an obsession towards language. I'm dyslexic, so it's one of my major interests, learning about language. There's a black walnut ink, that's the brown that I make from a tree in my neighborhood. So I'm going to look over here. This is Rafael Melendez, and he is an artist that I first learned of his work actually in a gallery in the South Bronx called Hellgate Arts, and I was immediately struck by his work, and it was very strange. I met him, literally, he was on being piped in from London, so I met him talking to a man on a screen 3 years ago, and it was actually then the first sort of inkling and gem in my head. I was like, I like this work so much that one day I want to do a work on paper show and have him in it. And the thing that really draws me to his work is Raphael is a generalist in the sense that he has an extremely broad range of interests, and then he takes those and he weaves them together, whether it's Dada or other periods of art, his own life. So I kind of like a weaving of meaning. And he's also created 2 works that he mounted on metal here, but they are works on paper. Beside Rafael is Keisha Prioleau-Martin, and she's actually the youngest artist in the show, and Melissa is someone who was familiar with her work, so when we formed the group, she was somebody who I learned about, and she really typified, I thought, the idea of the show of people like producing work almost in a stream of consciousness. Her works are all, I believe, acrylic paint on paper. And I think this is 6 arts in the show. Sharmistha Ray. And Sharmistha is somebody, an acquaintance as well as Melissa's, that goes back, I think you were saying, till 2000. And they met and have had a lot of interaction artistically, I think, in a long time. And it's also speaks of Sharmistha's own work, as she describes as conceptually based works on paper. And when you go to her website, I hope you do, which is extensive, it's she's sort of the one artist that works as a conceptualist, where you jump from, could be a photographic medium, to these are like a lot of marker and collage on paper, and then to a different kind of sculptural medium. So she's sort of the one artist in the show that uses painting or creating marks on paper more like a conceptualist, and then moves on to something else. And that's a car alarm. We have two more artists over by, maybe somebody can shut my door.
Shut it.
That's it, works pretty good. So this is the small room in the back of the gallery, and I was just talking to both artists before. Oh, here comes Keisha. She's coming in. Hey, this is Keisha, whose work we just visited.
Hello. Thank you.
And then in the back gallery is the last two artists. First we have Melissa Staiger, who's our co-organizer. And these works are, Melissa has talked a lot about her interest in color field, in that history of color field extraction around the Washington school where she grew up, I believe, in that area of the country. And instead of traditional color field, her work always has also a narrative. So it's influenced, but it also brings a story of references to natural phenomenon, rainbows, in this case, some skeletal and botanical allusions. And the paint is actually built up. If you come in, you see there's a real structural quality to the paint. And last but not least, we have Deanna Lee, and these are the original pieces that she had online in Instagram. So it's a series of work that she made at a residency in Mexico, and it goes perfectly with Melissa's because the abstraction as referential to nature, but specifically I always think of light, and light even at a certain time of day. Oh, is the similarity we found in the work. Oh. Now that's the show. I hope you guys can come see it, and we'll be posting information at Jeannie's Gallery, Stand 4, who were gracious enough to host us, about the hours, but I believe it's 12 to 3 every Saturday for about the next 4 weeks, and we hope to see it. If not, you can share this. We can post snippets of this interview with the art, and also Melissa's interview with Art Spiel. So thank you for watching.
Mm-hmm.